Come on, the Friday. How are we doing, everyone? Sam here, United People's TV, and we are T-minus, well, not just over 24 hours away from the international break being kaput, gone, vamos, out of my life. What a crappy 2 weeks it has been for everybody after the disappointment against Everton. But we are going to win 4-0 against Leicester tomorrow, and everything is going to be rosy again. And maybe we're going to sign a defensive midfielder in January. That's going to be the main talking point of the video today. How are you all doing? I know you're all doing great because it's Friday. It's Friday, people. And you know what happens on United People's TV on a Friday? We whip the map out. We get interactive. We have a good time. But today I'm talking about the story coming out from the Manchester Evening News yesterday. And it's about Manchester United aggressively going after and prioritising a defensive midfield signing in January or in the summer. It's something I think that Manchester United should have been prioritising in the summer just gone. But better late than never, I suppose, right? But come on, drop a like on the video, smash that like button. If you're new, make sure you subscribe because it's Friday. There's only one thing we can do, ladies and gents. And this guy's got to make an appearance, isn't he? I'm feeling hypey today.
It's Friday then.
Oh, yeah.
It's Saturday, Sunday, what? It's Friday then.
I'm probably going to get shut down for copyright because of this. I probably shouldn't have done that. This guy. Hey. Hey. Come on. Yeah, I can't play the whole thing. I'll definitely get shut down for copyright. But that's what I'm feeling like today because it's been such a slow couple of weeks, people. But you can see it with a smile on my face. Football is nearly back. And I'm excited to see it. And I'll tell you what, I'm basically as excited as Mufasa, my guy. And his hype man as well. His hype man is absolutely legit. But we are talking about, as I said, reports that have emerged from the Manchester Evening News that Manchester United are prioritising the addition. Let me pull that nice and full screen so you can see it. Prioritising the addition of a game-changing defensive midfielder across the next 2 transfer windows and are desperate for a player who can make an immediate impact on the starting lineup by filling the current void. In my own opinion, that void shouldn't be there because we should have already signed that player during the summer, but we did not do it. It was a problem. Oh, well, but at least maybe we're going to address it during January or the summer. So what I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to be looking at Tchouaméni, Ndidi, Neves, Rice, Kessie, Brozovic, any other defensive midfielders you want me to look at. We're going to look at their stats, going to see how they've been performing this season and see which one would do the job for Manchester United. I know all of you are going to have your favourites, as you always do. But let me go down here and see where you're watching from. And also watching from Cameroon. Good morning to you, sir. I tell you what, I'm feeling vibey today. Let's get you straight on the map, sir. Look at that. Remember, I'm not going to go into the map too often during the stream. I'll probably head towards it down at the end. If you really want to get onto the map, just make sure you leave your comments and make sure if you really want to get onto it, you fire it in a super chat because I can't ignore super chats. That's the way they work. You are now on the map, sir. Welcome aboard. It's Friday, man. The map only comes back out on Friday. I should get that on the wall in some way. So I don't know how I get it on the wall because it'd be really hard to get an interactive map on the wall. But I can see we've got Gert watching from Paris in France. We've got Matthew Peters watching on YouTube from Cape Town, South Africa. Middleton watching from Kenya. NG watching from Singapore. And Callum watching from Guernsey. I can see you all. Don't worry about that. But make sure all of you drop a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe if you're new. But let's get straight into this one. And let's talk about defensive midfield signing. Throughout this entire stream, you let me know in the comments which midfielders you'd like me to look at. Because maybe there's going to be some here that I don't mention, that I haven't got on my screen, that I'm not going to talk about. And the first one, this is going to come off the back of this report. So Lawrence Julien, as you all know, a very reliable, very respectable French journalist, is saying that Aurélien Tchouaméni is on Manchester United's radar if they fail to agree a new deal for Paul Pogba. A fee between 50 and 60 million will be needed in order to bring Monaco to the negotiation table. I personally think that shouldn't be the case. I think Tchouaméni should be a player that we could and should be looking at, regardless of what happens with Paul Pogba's future. But apparently not. Carl, I can see you here. Are you in the UPTV WhatsApp group? I am indeed, Carl. And for any members who haven't seen, there is a new WhatsApp group. I'm in it. And there's plenty of members already in it. It's a members-only group on Facebook and YouTube. If you check on Facebook and YouTube in the members sections, There'll be a link to the WhatsApp group. Come in there, have a conversation. If you want to get in that group, please join as a member. It's one of the perks you get. You get badges next to your name. You get priority comments read out. There's lots of things, lots and lots to be getting on with. But let's talk about Tchouaméni, right? Because that's the first one on the list here. 21. I mean, he was on our list during the summer. We saw him get linked, but nothing really happened past that point, right? A bit the same as Neves and Ndidi, Rice, any other midfielder we got linked with. It went nothing. It didn't go past a sort of just rumours, really. But Tchouaméni, let me know what you think about him in the comments below. Any questions you've got about his start of play? Any concerns you think about how he could fit into Manchester United? Or do you think that Tchouaméni could be a fantastic player for United? Let's have a quick look this season at his stats from Ligue 1 and see how he's been getting on. You're looking at his heat map. He's more left dominated. I think, no, he's right footed. He's playing on the left a little bit more. Let's have a look at his, because the important stats for me are defensively. How does he getting on? How is he breaking up the opposition's play? Interceptions per game, he's looking at 2, 3 tackles per game. So he's looking at 5 tackles or interceptions combined per game. What about duels? Total duels, 160. He wins 66% of his duels, 65% of his ground duels. Okay, aerial duels, he's a tall bloke. 71%. Decent. I would call him decent. Decent levels of stats here. I think Wilfred Ndidi is probably still going to be the market leader, we're going to call him, in terms of what sort of player he is. Something I'm going to be looking at some point this season. I'm going to try and get, because I've already spoken to Julian Laurens on an interview already. So I'm going to try and get him back on at some point to have a conversation with him about Tchouaméni, because he's not the only one who's going to get linked with us, for sure. And there's another name I've just thought of that I'm now bringing up here, although something might determine whether or not we go in for him. Let's go down here and look at the stats. John Overkill, Sam, agree we need extra bodies in midfield. Hell, we need, it's not just extra bodies in midfield. We've got Fred and McTominay. We need the right bodies. The correct bodies that are doing the right job and are tasked with doing the right job. Kessie's still very young. John, he's on the list. Don't worry about that. Neves is the best, says OT. And give us Basuma instead, says Abdul. We're going to be speaking about Neves. We're going to be speaking about Basuma. We're going to be speaking about everything. JJ saying he isn't CDM, but he can do a job in a double pivot. And I think that's an important point you've made there, Jay. It's an important point about what Manchester United are looking at. Because we haven't really looked at a player like, let me pull him up, probably the best player we could sign in that role. We haven't looked at a player like Wilfred Ndidi, who is a pure defensive midfielder. And I tell you what, Leicester are struggling without him in the team, eh? They've got 8 points, I think, from 7 games. Is that right? Either way, they've been shit this season. I don't think they've won in the last 4. Saying that, famous last words before, Manchester United play him. But if we go down here and we look at Ndidi's stats, he's going to blow him out of the water, really. So actually, no, he's looking at 5.5 interceptions and tackles per game. I'm going to tell you what, Tchouaméni's got better stats than him, but maybe that's because he's hardly been playing because he's been injured. Ndidi, for me, is always going to be sort of like that top-tier actual defensive midfielder. Pure, his only job is to screen the defense, to protect the defense, and to pass the ball on to someone else to take it forward. That's the player we're missing, right? Because you've got Fred, who's got passion and energy. But I was going to say this to later on, but I'll speak about it now, because I feel really quite strongly about this. Fred is a player who, well, after the Everton game, I did a video saying, look, Fred shouldn't be playing for Manchester United again. Number one, maybe I was a little bit emotional for that video. Number two, it's not that I don't want Fred to play again for Manchester United. It's that I don't want him to play in that role for Manchester United. And we saw last night, and I've kind of said it all along. This is Fred last night against, so there, I'm not going to make it full screen. Might get shut down for copyright. That's Fred there. The little tiny guy in the middle. You see the pass there. That's Fred receiving the ball. Boom. Little dink over to Neymar. See it again. Fred receives the ball. Little chip. Neymar chests it, takes it, back of the net. Assist for Fred. And what I'm saying here is absolutely true about Fred. Fred playing for Brazil is better than Fred playing for Manchester United. If we saw Copa America and we saw what happened with Fred there, Brazil got to the final. Fred played very well alongside Casemiro. There against Uruguay yesterday, Brazil won 4-1. Fred played alongside Fabinho. Fabinho there doing the deeper job. Casemiro in the Copa America doing the deeper job. Fred is a player who I still think would has the potential to be a squad player for United in that role. He's not somebody who is a natural defensive midfielder. Scott McTominay is not somebody who is a natural defensive midfielder. You can see where this is going. Paul Pogba is not somebody who is a natural defensive midfielder. Donny van de Beek, not that it matters anyway because he never plays, is not somebody who's a natural defensive midfielder. Nemanja Matic is the only player who is an actual defensive midfielder. It's why he's in my 11. If you saw my video yesterday, which I'm sure you all did, my starting 11 for Leicester, both my actual predicted and my preferred 11, both have Matic in. Because we need that back. Football, it might be sexy to put a starting 11 out that's got Pogba, Van der Beek, Rashford, Bruno, Sancho, and Ronaldo. And that be your sort of like your front 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, your front 6. That would be amazing, wouldn't it? On FIFA, it might be. In the reality of a balanced midfield, playing Van der Beek and Paul Pogba alongside each other, you're going to get left massively exposed. But at the same time, Fred and McTominay are leaving us exposed. They're leaving us just exposed everywhere. They're not good enough defensively. So that's why we haven't kept any clean sheets when we've got Fred and McTominay in. And they're limited going forward. So we're stunting our attack at the same time as trying to bolster our defense. And neither of them are working. As I said, if Man United were keeping plenty of clean sheets right now, there would be some semi-justification for having Fred and McTominay in there. But there's not, because we're not. So that's the kind of a point I wanted to make there. People always seem to message me as soon as I go live. It's like they want to interrupt me. Hey, if you're new here, make sure you drop a like on the video. Subscribe to United People's TV. Throughout this entire stream, you know what happens on Friday. The interactive map is back out. So make sure you let me know where you're watching from, the town and the country. Not just the country, because there's plenty of countries on the map already. But if we've spoken about Tchouaméni, we've spoken about Ndidi, there's someone else we definitely have to speak about. And one thing I will say about Yves Bissouma, right? Right now, he's innocent until proven guilty. That's the way it works in the judicial system. He's been arrested on suspicion of sexual assault. Let's see what happens with Bissouma. If he is found guilty of that, then you can scrap him as an option completely. He won't be coming to Manchester United. But if he isn't, then Bissouma has to be on the list for United. Bissouma is, for Brighton this season, he's been one of the most impressive players. He was impressive last year. Everybody named Bissouma as a player that we should be looking at this year, but we haven't been looking at him really. So he's definitely impressive, and he's another one there. If we're looking at cheap options, then really, there's only really one option for Manchester United. Franck Kessie. I said this all along. I said it as soon, we all saw it, right? When we watched Manchester United play AC Milan in the Europa League, he was fantastic. He was fantastic. He was really, really, really powerful in his running. Really powerful and strong in his positioning, smart in his positioning, disciplined. He sort of set the tempo. He set the tempo inside that AC Milan midfield, and it was, United couldn't really cope with it. And he was very, very impressive as far as I was concerned. So the reason Franck Kessie, I would say, is a cheap option. Maybe cheap's the wrong word, but his contract runs out in the summer. As I said, this free agent 11 is looking tasty, very, very tasty. And Franck Kessie is one of them. And I think he would be an outstanding signing for Manchester United. I think it's, well, you could say the same thing about plenty of people like this summer. Maybe Camavinga wasn't as simple as I thought it was because he always wanted Real Madrid in that sense, right? I always said, look, the deal for Camavinga seemed very simple, 30 million. He wants to leave, Rennes need to sell, deal done. But I think he must have always wanted Real Madrid, and maybe United knew that. So maybe they knew more than I did at that point. But Franck Kessie, for sure, is going to be available on the cheap because he's no closer to a contract extension with AC Milan. He can leave on a free in the summer, and they won't want that. So if United went in it, it's one of those test the waters, because he can agree a pre-contract with Manchester United in January. We can go and speak to him straight away in the same way that we're in that same situation with Paul Pogba. It's a bit of a more difficult situation with Paul Pogba for sure. But Franck Kessie, I think, would be an excellent signing. Matthew saying, if Kessie came, would you play him with Scott? No, I play him with Paul Pogba. Ideally, that would be the ideal situation. But it depends on what happens with Paul Pogba, right? Whether or not he stays. Adrian, you're feeling chipper this morning, saying, doesn't matter who we buy under Ole, we need a proper manager. Well, I suppose we've got 10 games coming up now, mate, where we can all, I think, make a pretty definitive decision on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Maybe you shouldn't be saying that 3 years into his tenure. I understand that. Maybe I'm giving him a little bit too much leeway in the same way that I wouldn't give Van Gaal and Mourinho that sort of leeway. And yeah, you got damn right, because I've seen and I've witnessed what Van Gaal wasn't malicious. He was just wrong for Manchester United. Mourinho was both malicious and wrong. We all knew we were getting in bed with the devil, Mourinho. We just hoped it would work out. We hoped that our club, it would be different. Nah, it wasn't. It wasn't. And then he started getting malicious, and then everything went to shit. Solskjaer's coming, and I'm not going to explain that anymore. But Franck Kessie would be a good signing. Chris, lovely to see you this morning, my friend. How are you doing? Saying, at this point, any Premier League proven defensive midfielders would make us a better team. I'm happy with whoever, as long as he is proven and an established DM. Now, I don't particularly think it will be, as I said, I don't particularly think it will be an established DM. I don't think United will be going out and signing a Kante or signing an Ndidi. I think we'll sign somebody who is a central midfielder who has defensive capabilities. Franck Kessie, I say, would fall into that category. Tchouaméni, I say, would fall into that category. As would Ruben Neves. You're damn straight Ruben Neves' his name is getting... Here is your Ruben Neves propaganda, ladies and gentlefolk. I've always said it. I've always maintained it. This bloke would be a strong signing for Manchester United. A very strong signing. So if you're looking at Tchouaméni, I think he was looking at roughly, what is it? Yeah. Five tackles and interceptions per 90. What was his ground duels? His ground duels, 65%. 66% total duels won. Decent. What about Franck Kessie? Let's go down here. He's looking at only 2.2 tackles and interceptions per game. Ground duels, 60, a little bit less. What about Ruben Neves? Come on. Give me these. I haven't looked at these stats yet, so I don't know. But he's looking at 3.1 tackles and interceptions per game. More tackles than interceptions, which tells you he's more of an aggressive central midfielder rather than someone like Michael Carrick, who sort of sat back and blocked the passing lanes. Ground duels, he's looking pretty weak by comparison, if I'm being completely honest there. Maybe he's not the answer. Maybe he's not the answer. Maybe he's not. But hell, someone's the answer. I tell you what, someone is the answer. And look, we struggle defensively, but we struggle more through the thirds. Neves is the only one of those that offers a great blend of both things. And I think it's a big point there. And that's what I'm saying about whoever we sign in this midfield position. It depends on whether or not we want to make it a strict midfield. What do I mean by that? If we're playing a double pivot and we have someone like Franck Kessie, for example, playing alongside Paul Pogba, it will be more of a disciplined midfield. And in that sense, I mean that Kessie would hold back. His task would be to hold back and let Paul Pogba run forward. If it was Neves and Pogba, I think he would be a little bit more freedom to move forward, both of them. You wouldn't have one per. You wouldn't have Kessie just sitting behind Pogba. You'd probably have Neves sitting alongside Pogba, and both of them doing a similar job. And you're right there in the comments in what you're saying, that Neves is one of the more all-rounded midfielders. In fact, let's have a look at his. I don't know what you call that. Pentagon. Let's have a look at his pentagon. So if we look at Tchouaméni, let's have a look at his. Go up here. So he's definitely geared. If we look, let me zoom in on these. Actually, no, you can just see it. He's geared more towards defensive. That's what, according to what his stats are saying, defensive and tactical knowledge. I'm guessing tactics. Franck Kessie, let's have a look at his. Look, they're saying that he's more attack-minded than he is defensively. Okay, that's interesting. Ruben Neves, he's got some defensive, but he has some creativity. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. That's exactly the sort of player he is. And as you're saying that you want Kessie, you can't watch this one. You'll catch up later on. Mate, yeah, as Ad said there, it basically, no, sorry, it was Chris. You're at a point now at Manchester United where every defensive midfielder looks great. Every central midfielder looks like he'd improve Manchester United. It's what makes it difficult for us as fans to identify truly the one player who would be ideal for that role. Because every single one of them, I'm looking at Ndidi. Yeah. I'm looking at Basuma. Yeah. Unless, of course. I'm looking at Tchouameni. Yeah. Kessie. Yeah. Neves. Yeah. And then we go on to the next couple that we can look at as well. Because it doesn't just stop there. We go here and we can look at Declan Rice. Now, Declan Rice, again, let me know in the comments below. You kind of all know what I think about Declan Rice in terms of the value of the player. I think is absolutely outrageous that they want that much for him. But what I would say about Declan Rice is Declan Rice is... I've been watching Declan Rice a lot closer since Euro 2020. Really watched him for England alongside Calvin Phillips. I mean, you could have a conversation about Calvin Phillips. I don't personally think that Calvin Phillips is coming anywhere near Manchester United. I don't think Leeds would let that happen. But Rice has impressed me, if I'm being honest. I think Rice, now that I've been watching him a bit closer, he's a bit better than I thought he was. I still don't think he's an £80 million central midfielder at all, in any way, shape or form. But Declan Rice is basically, if McTominay fulfilled everything that he's good at, Declan Rice would probably still be better than him in pretty much every regard, and better defensively. Declan Rice is certainly, if you're looking at the options compared to Neves, Declan Rice would be better defensively. Probably equal to Basuma. I think less good than Ndidi. But how much Rice, yes or no? You let me know in the comments below. We're having discussions about all the midfielders on the back of this report. Let's go here. Elite, Josh, don't sit on the fence there, my friend. Fuck Rice. Don't want him at all. Okie dokie. Too expensive. We're outpriced for Rice. Batman. You're saying Batman, by the way, The Dark Knight. I love those films. My word. Still some of the best films ever. Rice is definitely better than I thought initially, says John. And Malps, you're saying he's overpriced. No. Rice would be the guy taking Pogba's role right now. May as well take two new midfielders at that price. I don't think Rice would come in and do the Pogba role. If Rice came into Manchester United, he would sit in a deeper. He'd sit in a screening role in a similar sort of way that he played for England. And you're saying that we need not only one midfielder, you need two midfielders. We need to have a plan for not having Pogba. We don't want to hang our hats on it. I'd like Neves and Basuma and Ndidi. I mean, look, in an ideal world, hell yeah, we would sign two, because if you were to look at Manchester United's midfield, I suppose we can do this right now. Why not? That's what happens when you do it on live things. You can adapt. You can change. Matic raring to go. Oh, hello. I'm reading this first. Coming out on Man United's official website, dropping some Matic propaganda. Matic believes a full preseason is enabling him to be in top form for Man United, mate. We saw it against Villarreal. The last 10 minutes he came on. Did you see Matic just he was putting his hands like this, saying, slow it down. And as it says there, always a calming influence in defensive midfield. Would Manchester United be putting this Matic propaganda out if he wasn't playing at the weekend? Probably, because they like doing stupid shit like that. But what is Matic saying? I think I'm playing well every time I have the chance. Physically, I feel great. Okay, Matic, this is what I want to hear. Physically, I feel great. Of course, you always want to play more and more, but the manager is a man who decides. I'm always ready to play. I'm happy to play to help my team. And yeah, I feel good. I had a fantastic preseason, a full preseason from day one. I'm happy and I'm motivated for the rest of the season. I swear to God, ladies and gents, Matic is going to be the solution to our midfield until we sign a new midfielder. We need to manage Matic perfectly. And by we, I mean, Solskjaer feeling Rice, McKenna and Carrick. Got Rice in my head. Matic is not going to be capable of playing 90 minutes 3 times a week. Absolutely not. But Matic, he might be, he might be massively old, but Rice is never... Sorry, fucking hell. Rice, get out of my head. It's gone. Matic has never been a sort of really dynamic, energetic midfielder, is he? Matic is the sort of player who will sit in the right position and wait for the game to come to him rather than just expending his energy buzzing about. It's not his style of play. I really want to see Matic start against Leicester. It's in my preferred 11. It's in my predicted 11. He's in all my 11s. And he's in, so he's got the interview in United Review. So that's for the Champions League game ahead of Atalanta. Okay, right, that's interesting. But do you think Matic will start against Leicester? Type yes or no in the comments now. For me, he absolutely needs to start. Absolutely needs to start. John, nice to see you here, buddy. Thank you very much for the super chat. Kessie in his last year is an opportunity. Get him for free in the summer and sign another one in January. If Basuma is innocent, or Neves if not. Maybe that's exactly what we'll do, John. We can agree a pre-contract with Kessie and then sign someone else in January. And we know, therefore, that by the time the summer comes around, we've already got Kessie coming in. Boom, don't have to worry about that. And we've already signed one in January. Smart thinking. I like that. Klein, you think he's going to start? Batman, you think... Nah, Josh, you're saying no, he's injured. Well, he's not injured. He's just said he's not injured. You're saying, yeah. Louis, you're saying he should. Rich, you're saying he should. Matt, you want to see him in there. Pogba McTominay, says Chris. Pogba McTominay, I wouldn't be massively adverse to it, but obviously Fred's not playing. But Victorin, you're not sitting on the fence. He has to, otherwise Ollie is done for me. It's a bit strong, mate. It'll be hard for me to keep supporting him. I mean, him starting or not starting an individual player is not going to swing my opinion whether I support Solskjaer or not. Zakaria, he was a fantastic player. Where's he play? Is it in Bruges? Let me see where Zakaria plays. That was off the top of my head. I can't remember. I don't think it's Bruges, actually, but it's somewhere over there, isn't it? Switzerland? Where did he play? Oh, no, he plays for Borussia Mönchengladbach. Oh, no, it's Swiss. No, he's Swiss. There we go. Got it half right. Zakaria, another name on the list. Another name on the list. Do you want me to do a video? I mean, I suppose I could do a sort of scouting report on every single one of them, right? Would you like to see that as a series? Type yes or no in the comments. Make sure you drop a like on the video too. Maybe I will. I mean, I definitely will. Even if you don't want me to. I will. I think that would be a fantastic thing to do ahead of January. Won't do it yet. We've got to focus on the games. Maybe coming up to... I mean, December's going to be crazy. Jeez. I forgot how busy it starts getting. John, you're saying yes. Everyone was saying yes in the comments. Right, ladies and gents. I promise I will do some... What I want to do is speak to... Because it's all good and well me doing like research into stats and everything, but it's be far more interesting to speak to journalists who watch these players every week, because they will be able to get a better tactical understanding of exactly what that player is doing. So that's what I'll try and do, a series of interviews based around these players. That'll be a cool series. I like to do that. But Zakaria, another player on the list. Declan Rice, another player on the list. And again, if we're looking at cheaper options, another player that we have to be looking at, therefore, is Marcelo Brozovic. Brozovic. I'm going to call him Brozovic. No, I'm not. It's Brozovic. He, like Kessie, is going to be available on a free transfer in the summer. And if you're looking at, look at his stats there. Look, creatively, he's strong. Defensively, he's okay. Tactically, he's got a strong map there. 28 prime of his career, apparently. We're looking here at interceptions and tackles. He's looking at 2.7 per game. Duels, he's not particularly good at the duels. If I'm being honest, he looks a bit more creative than he does. What would you reckon about Brozovic? Let me know in the comments below. He's another name on the list. Our list right now has got Ndidi Basuma, Chouameni Kessie, Neves Rice, Brozovic, and Zakaria. You can throw his name in there as well. That is a lot of midfielders. And as I said before, it's why we kind of struggle and why we kind of find it tough to really identify who the best midfielder for United would be, because you look at them all and you go, yep. They could all do a job. And there with a very good point. Inter still owe us money for Lukaku. Pay up, you little cheapskate fuckers. Victor, saying, long list, Sam, we won't sign anyone. Well, you might be right there. You might be right, and I hope you fucking not. But You can't, I've said this before, you can't go out and show the sort of ambition that Man United showed in the transfer market in signing one of the world's best centre-backs, signing one of the world's best right wingers, and signing the world's best striker, and then just not signing a defensive midfielder. It's pointless to show that sort of ambition everywhere else on the pitch and then not to come in and do it in the middle of the park. I'll tell you what, I'm going to add someone else to the map now. So if you want to, fire in the comments where you're watching from, the town and the country. And if you want to, fire it in a super chat, and then you get straight on the map. It's not that I'm prioritizing, but there's too many comments that come in, so I have to encourage it. And as I said, it's been a very slow couple of months, really. An international break in September, an international break in October, another international break coming in November. I just hope that Manchester United head into that international break in November in better form. The problem there is that we play City. I believe the last game we play is City. Good morning, Matt, saying, Sam, I missed the last couple of weeks of live streams because of news art time. Is that the new studio? Yes, sir. It's the beginning of the new studio. Don't you worry. I'm getting, you see there's loads of space on the wall there. That's all going to get very, very sexy very, very soon. I've got something very special lined up there. And as I said before on the stream yesterday and the day before, I've now officially, I've got a PO box. I've opened a PO box. I'm waiting for the address to come through, and then I'm going to share it with everyone. And you can send me anything you want from all around the world. Send it to that PO box, because I'm going to build a couple of shelves in the back of the studio there where your stuff can go on it. So you can be part of the studio. It's my way of bringing you a little bit closer into the community. Again, I think it'll be cool. You can send me anything. I think it will be a bit dangerous. I don't know what I'm going to get, but I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun. Kessie is for free in the summer. It's a no-brainer, says Aaron. Hey, man, that is an absolute no-brainer, really. Let me go down here and look in the comments, see where you're all watching from, and let's get one of you added on to the fabled United People's TV interactive map. Just gave myself a little... There we go. Gert, you win, sir. You're watching from Brunei. Where's that? Well, I mean, it's in France. I can see exactly where that is. What a stupid question. I do ask stupid questions sometimes, you know. And stupid questions deserve stupid responses. How are we up? We're up to 211 map points now. Look at that, man. All the way down there in New Zealand, all the way up there in Canada, all around the world. Russia's looking a bit sad, isn't it? Poor Russia. Poor Russia indeed. All right, let me get one more added onto the map now, because I've got the map up. Let me scroll down here and let's have a look. Cool. We've got Renil. You're getting on there, sir. That's a wicked place. Speyside in Tobago. Speyside in Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome to the map, sir. You best be dropping a like on the video and subscribing if you're not new, Renil. That's all I'm saying. Thank you very much for your comments, ladies and gents. As I said, always drop a like on the video and subscribe to United People's TV. It's Friday. We're getting that vibey Friday feeling, aren't we? Because you know what? That video will never, ever get old. He's got the best hype man in the world in the car. But look, it's to hear that United are prioritising a defensive midfield signing. On the one hand, brilliant. Yes, get in. On the other hand, well, why weren't you prioritising that signing during the summer? It's what I always said. I'm not a rocket scientist. I'm just a United fan who's watched United enough and long enough and close enough to understand that defensive midfield was our biggest weakness in the summer. And I honestly, I still find it quite staggering, actually, that Manchester United decided to just overlook that. Just overlook that completely. Mamacini saying, Sam, Brazil trashed Uruguay 4-1 and Fred played a stellar match. He did indeed. And as I showed earlier, my friend, we had a conversation about that. Fred played well. Fred does play well for France. It's not France. Jeez. Fred plays well for Brazil in the same way that Pogba plays well for France. It's a bit annoying, really. But Fred for Brazil doesn't play in a pure defensive midfield role. He does play in the double pivot, but he plays alongside Fabinho or Casemiro, who sit behind him. And it allows Fred to focus on going forward. As I said, when we spoke to Fred in the interview, he always said his preferred position is to join the attack. Fred might have the energy in midfield, but that's pretty much all he's got. He just runs according to the Wasp. He is the Wasp. He's much better going forward than he is defensively anyway. Gert saying, do you think we should go in for Mbappe? No, don't go anywhere near Mbappe because he's going to Real Madrid. Do not waste our time. Sam, could you add Calvin Phillips to our scouting report, please? Okay, I'll add him down in the list. It depends on whether or not he's actually going to sign the new contract at Leeds. And if he is, then again, let's not waste our time. Josh, got a signed Rooney picture for you. Well, look at that. Boom. Honestly, people, don't send bad stuff. But I mean, it's what you get open to when you get open a PO box. I'm dead excited, actually, to see what people send in and to sort of have a little part of this studio on the wall sort of dedicated to you. That's fun. I think it's a fun way to really sort of bring you back in. Lee, Fred isn't a bad player. He just not. I haven't seen you around, Lee. Make sure you drop a like on the video. Subscribe if you're new. Fred isn't a bad player. He's just not suited to the Premier League. Look at Veron. He was a world-class player who never adapted to the league. And with Veron, I think it was just a bit... Mate, we had Scholes and Keane. Veron, we were just spoiled. Imagine that. We're sitting here arguing about the fact that we haven't got a central midfielder and we just signed Veron when we had Scholes and Keane. Jesus Christ. We were good. We were good at that point, weren't we? My God. Veron, I wouldn't say he wasn't suited to the Premier League. I just don't think Manchester United desperately needed him. He was fucking great, though. Veron was class. Veron was class. Speaking of class, woof. Yes, Marcus Rashford. He's in my predicted 11 to come in against Leicester. I really, really want to see what he can do. I want to see how fit he is. And this is the latest on Rashford. Rashford has been using resistance bands to improve his upper body strength, having added 4 kilos of muscle to his legs through an assortment of weight sessions while he gave his shoulder time to recover. Marcus Rashford getting wamp during his time away from Manchester United, using that time to build up some strength inside his legs. And maybe that's a sort of, to try and, maybe that's a kind of preventative measure, I suppose. Because if you're stronger, maybe you're going to be able to deal with knocks a little bit better. I don't know. I'm so excited to see Rashford back. Do you think Rashford will start? Let me know in the comments. Type yes or type no now. I personally think he will. I think Rashford's been waiting and waiting and waiting because Rashford's been, you know, he broke through Van Gaal. He's come through Mourinho. He's been in the lows of Manchester United, and he's always had that. He still had the same approach. And now we've got Ronaldo and Sancho. We've got literally his idol playing up front, and it might be the only year where Ronaldo really hits this sort of form. So Rashford won't want to wait for that. And he's got Jadon Sancho on the right wing, a really good friend, alongside Bruno Fernandes. Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. I think Rashford will 100% start this game, and I think he'll be 100% ready. But what do you think? Let me go down here. Batman and Baron, you're both saying yes. Shane Parry on Facebook. Nice to see you, buddy. You're saying yes. Jonas, you're saying yes. Callum, you're saying no. Bahadir, you're saying yes. Let's go up here. Man, there's so many comments coming in. Keep flying them in. Tell, you're saying yes. You're saying yes. Victorium, you're saying yes. And so is Klein. No. As I said, I personally think Marcus Rashford will start. And that front four there, I think, let me see if I can pull it up. Obviously, every single one of you watching the stream watched my video yesterday, so I don't need to pull it up, right? I mean, obviously. What else are you going to be doing on Thursday, apart from watching United People TV videos? Obviously. You're going to be watching. But if I go here and I pull my video up, I like the intro I did yesterday. Let me pull this. Did you like this? Did you like this introduction? I quite liked it. I thought it was funny. Jurassic Park, of course. Football's back. Plus, I love Jurassic Park. But this is the team I predicted. Boom. So let me pull that up there, and then we go back here. So I've gone for De Gea with Lindelof and Bailly, Shaw and Wan-Bissaka, Matic and Pogba. And then I've got Fernandes, Rashford, Ronaldo, and Sancho. I've been waiting for that front four, man. It's a bit weird. There's two of me on screen. It's like Inception. I'm like, hello, mate. How you doing down there? Yeah, nice. Oh, I'm waving the wrong way. What twat. That comedy failed miserably. But yeah, man, that front four is beautiful. Gungshi, you agree with me? Thank you very much, buddy. You're saying I agree with your predicted lineup for the game. I hope Ollie does too. Hey, man, that's the best 11 we can put out. If you were to put Maguire and Varane there instead of Lindelof and Bailly, I think that's the best team that Manchester United have. I really want to see that. I want to see Matic there with Paul Pogba. I think that's the best midfield two we've got. I want to see Rashford on the left. I want to see Sancho on the right. I want to see Ronaldo up front. Everyone in their best positions. Yeah, that there is the balance that we need. And of course, you can bring Mason Greenwood on in the 55th minute, 60th minute, and bring him on for Sancho, and then have the energy and quality of Mason Greenwood coming on. You could Martial, if he's going to come back in and start banging in goals. You could bring him on at some point. Cavani won't be playing. He played 90 minutes for Uruguay against Brazil last night, and it kicked off at like 1 a.m. And Fred also played, so neither of those will be involved in this game. That's why I think it should be Matic and Pogba in midfield, and it should be anyway. Philippe, how you doing? Watching from Madeira Island. Nice to see you, buddy. I hope you have a good time at work. Nice to see you. Thank you very much for joining in. And you're saying, Sam, I worry about Matic getting overrun for pace as they have a rapid midfield. No, man, I'm not worried about that at all. And the reason I'm not worried is because I want to see Matic occupy the space in between. I want Matic to be sitting there. Can you see my mouse? I want him to be sitting and screening in front of Lindelof and Bailly. I don't want to see Matic running around everywhere trying to be. I want him to just stay in a position, stay central, make Leicester come to him, and then Pogba can do a bit more of the movement in midfield. Fernandes can drop a little bit deeper and help if he needs to. I don't want to see. Matic running around everywhere. He doesn't have to. He has to be smart and sort of exclusive with how he uses his energy. And I think if Matic can do that, so I think managing Matic is just as much as it's managing Matic, it's Matic managing himself. Don't get too drawn into run into spaces. Shaw, if he's down that side, Shaw can tuck in and cover a little bit of space. Wan-Bissaka can tuck in and cover a little bit of space. But Matic he's the player I want Lindelof and Bailly to pass out to, because I think he's going to be the player capable of bringing it forward and protecting our defence. Gungshi, nice to see you again. Thank you very much for Super Chats, buddy, as always. Our forward line is as good as anyone's. Cavani, Greenwood, Martial are all there for backup. If fit, we just have to fix that goddamn midfield, where you're not wrong there, Gungshi, and you, sir, are preaching to the choir there. Absolutely. We just need to fix that midfield. Donut FC, man. Top draw back five when they're all fit. Top draw front four when they're all fit. And then the midfield, which has Paul Pogba in, by the way, who is one of the best in the world, but doesn't have the wrong partner. So it doesn't complement him. And therefore, the shape of everything is just different. It's wrong. The balance isn't there. And I know people get annoyed about it. And people trying to say, oh, Sam, mate, you're just giving excuses to Solskjaer. You're just giving excuses. I'm not giving you excuses. I'm just giving you pure facts. Man United's midfield is just not balanced. There is no balance to it. There haven't been any balance to it all season long because it's a compromise. No matter what you do, Fred and McTominay, you're compromising both your defensive ability and your ability to go forward. Pogba and Fred, you're still compromising. McTominay and Pogba, you're still compromising. Matic and Pogba is the only midfield we've got which, in my opinion, doesn't compromise Manchester United's midfield balance. It's just that they're just not capable of playing alongside each other for 90 minutes every single game. I don't know. But until we can sign a defensive midfielder, and look, we've been linked with plenty now. We've been linked with plenty, and reports are suggesting that we're going to be going after one. And I really, really hope so. I really, really hope so. Whether that is, we ran through the list here, ladies and gents, didn't we? Wilfred Ndidi, Yves Bissouma, Aurelien Tchouameni, Ruben Neves, Franck Kessie, Declan Rice, Marcelo Brozovic, Dennis Zakaria. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bloody midfielders. 8 midfielders that we could sign that would all improve our midfield. All of them. Some more than most. Out of those options I'm looking at, I don't know who my top choice would be. If I'm being completely honest, I'd have to really properly research, because looking from the outside looking in, they all look appealing. It's like when you're hungry and you go to a buffet, you're like, that. But I suppose at a buffet, you can eat everything. Bad example. It's like being hungry and going into Tesco's and you just buy everything because everything looks appealing. All being stoned and going in, according to my friend. Hey, look, but tomorrow is Leicester, and I tell you what, I'm excited. I'm excited about seeing Manchester United back in action. It might not be the sort of positive feeling that you all want going into the games because of how Manchester United have been playing, but I'm not like that. I'm fucking excited to see United play again. Like Martin, good morning to you, Martin. Big up to you, sir. joining as a member. Where are you watching from, sir? I'll try and give you a shout out. If anybody else would like to join in and become a member, there's a join button down below, just next to the subscribe button, I think. And also there's a link in the description. It's your way of supporting the channel. It's your way of coming in a little bit closer. Martin, you can join the WhatsApp group now. So you can come in there, have a chat with me. Also, you get your priority comments read out. There are plenty of benefits to becoming a member. And you also help support the channel. Look, we've got the new studio coming. Got the PO box that's been opened and paid for by your guys' memberships. It's wicked, man. Look, you're watching from Cheam in Surrey. On the map you go, sir. On the map you go. I think I've been to Cheam. Can't remember the last time I was in Cheam. Is that near Chobham? I think it's around there. Cheam in Surrey. Sutton. Surrey? Sutton. Oh, no, Sutton is... Yeah, Sutton is... Anyway, welcome aboard, Martin, sir. Lovely to have you on board. The Legacy Arms tomorrow, Matthew. Of course, the Legacy Arms is open. For those who don't know, I'm here an hour before kickoff with a can, having a chat with you as members. Again, it's another positive of being a member on the channel. You can jump on screen with me and we can have a chat. We can react to the team news together. It's been a couple of weeks and it's going to be a good one. I'm looking forward to having that conversation tomorrow. Let me go down. I've got 5 minutes left in the stream. Anybody got any questions you want to ask me? Fire them in the comments. Fire them in super chats as well, if you would, to support the channel. And I'll definitely read out your questions if you fire it in a super chat. Sterling wants to leave City, says Victor him. You can leave City if you want, but I don't want to go anywhere near Sterling. We don't need any more attacking signings. Let's focus on where United's problems are. Tony, just feel frustrated that the DM we are crying out for might be too late after the next 7 matches we are looking at. Is Ollie regretting the mistake he has done? In McFred, Ollie trust. Very fair comment there, Tony. I've said it quite a few times now. I've said if Solskjaer sticks with McFred, he's digging his own grave. He has to move away from it. Because as I said, if Manchester United were keeping clean sheets regularly, then I think we could understand the justification for it. Even if it pissed you off, you can understand the justification for it. But we are just conceding goals every single game. Defensively, we're a shambles. Midfield shape is not there. Therefore, you can't be sticking with it. You cannot be doing that. All right? And that's why Freddie McTominay has to change. The next 7 games, yeah, I think that's the underlying biggest frustration of all of this is a bit like Bruno Fernandes, right? When we signed him in January, and we were all like, mate, if we were going to fucking sign him in January, why didn't we just sign him in summer? Why have we had to sit here and wait 4 months? Imagine, you remember the impact that Bruno had in January. Imagine we had that from the start of that season. It may have been very different. It may have been very different. And you're asking, why are we missing out on good young talent these days? Fofana, for example, that all comes down to scouting, my friend. Our scouting has been massively sort of overhauled under Solskjaer. We've implemented a lot of new scouts, a new system. And I would say we've done quite well in terms of academy signings. We've made a lot of good academy signings in the last few years. So I think our scouts at a younger level, we're looking, I don't know, between 13 and 16. We're doing very well. There are a lot of good players who've come through. I think I can't remember his name. I think it's Willie Cambajwala. Don't know. He's just signed his first professional contract, just turned 17. I think we signed him from somewhere in France. Was it PSG? Don't know where it was. It was from France, though. And there are quite a few signings like that, like Hannibal, who's coming through now. Players that we brought in around about those young teenagers. Good. We are good at doing that. But maybe we're not good at spotting players, like you say, like Fofana. I don't think was like the most difficult player to spot in the world. But yeah, I would agree at that. That Manchester United, we're not as good as we once were in terms of spotting those talented players. Because I'll be completely honest, my favourites, I think they'll probably be your favourite signings as well. I think so anyway. My favourite signings at Manchester United always are those players that come into the club as exciting, talented youngsters that sort of develop into world-class players whilst you're watching them. Obviously, Cristiano Ronaldo and Wayne Rooney are the 2 best examples of that. But there's plenty of other examples as well. Players that are grown. Patrice Evra, Nemanja Vidic. They've always been the best signings for me. You can probably put your finger on a couple of names, but not even that many. Probably Zlatan Ibrahimovic is probably the best example of like an established top-level player coming into Manchester United and doing it. Robin van Persie, the best example probably of a player that comes in ready-made, world-class, and continues it at United. Typically, they struggle, whether that's Angel Di Maria, whether that's Radamel Falcao. It's a bit different. Falcao, we're not typically good at bringing in established top-level players and then continuing that level. Alexis Sanchez, a prime example of that not fucking working. Jonathan saying, Joe Hugel, is it Charlie McNeil? I think we got McNeil and Hugel. One of them we got from City. Hannibal, yeah. We do have a very good youth setup. And Zidane Iqbal, again, he scored a cracking goal, I think. Was it under 23s? We have been good. Our academy in the last few years has had a massive overhaul, a positive overhaul. John Murto was a big part of that, huge part of that. So credit to him for that. But yeah, in terms of identifying players, like Leicester do, I think Leicester are probably the best example of a club that signed players, like whether it was Kante or Mahrez or Fofana, someone who's come through now, but he's out. But yeah, maybe we need to get better scouts. Or maybe we're just not looking for those sort of players. And I'll be honest, like right now, we've got enough young quality in our squad that the signings that we did need to make were the established top-level players. So Amad Diallo was someone that we signed. Let's see how Amad Diallo goes, right? Because there must be a reason why you're paying 40 million for an 18-year-old who's played like 60 minutes of Serie A football. So maybe in a couple of years' time, we'll come back and say, we nailed it with Amad. We absolutely nailed it. By the way, who is training again, exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing him come into a loan spell in January because he should currently be out on loan, but his injuries, it's such an unfortunate injury for the lad. But I'm excited to see how he gets on. But yeah, Amad Diallo, I think you could probably put him down as an example maybe of that sort of signing. But look, before I wrap up here, I will say to everybody who's new, make sure you get involved in United People's TV. Oh no. Never mind. I can't pull up I was going to pull up the subscribe account, but it's telling me I've got to do a brief verification, but I don't. But anyway, thank you all very much for joining in. It's been a busy comment section, as I can see there. Some may be good comments, some may be bad, but look, that's what the comments are all about. You get your opinions in, and that's what I do here on United People's TV. I genuinely involve you in the show. I make it as interactive as possible, and I let you sort of steer the conversation. But today we've had big conversations here about this idea that Man United, boom, want a new defensive midfield signing because we need one. We need one. Whether that's going to be Ndidi, Basuma, Tchouameni, Kessie, Neves, Rice, Brozovic, Zakaria. So many that we've been linked with. No, we have been linked with. Brent, as Leicester is failing, can we have a shot at Ndidi? Not that, Brent. I mean, yeah, we could always do it, right? We could always do it. I think United, maybe, well, you probably leave that one for the summer and this depends what goes on. But Leicester have been very good at holding on to the players that they don't want to sell. Remember with Jamie Vardy, when Arsenal came in, they sold Riyad Mahrez because they wanted to. They sold Kante. Maybe they didn't want to sell Kante, but they did. But Ndidi, I don't personally think United are going to go after a pure defensive midfielder, if I'm being completely honest. I think it'll be a central midfielder who has defensive capabilities. I don't think we're going to go for like a proper disciplined holding mid. That's just my own opinion. I don't know. We'll see what goes on. But look, thank you very much for joining in this morning. I've really enjoyed it. It's Friday. Drop a like on the video, please, if you would. Subscribe. It's been a slow couple of weeks. It's been a crap couple of weeks. But tomorrow I'm here an hour before kickoff and the United Legacy Arms is open. So please, if you would, come and join me there for a pre-match chat, conversation, reacting to the team news. Maybe I'll do a video later today. Not sure. But please drop a like on the video. Subscribe if you are new to United People's TV. Thank you very much for all joining in. Thank you very much for all your comments and your super chats. Gungshi, anybody who got added onto the map. Let me see who do we add onto the map today? We've got Cheam in Sutton. We've got Speyside in Trinidad. And we've got Brunoy in France. Lovely. All added onto the map. Thank you all very much, ladies and gents, for joining in. I'm rambling a little bit. Enjoy your Friday. Enjoy your beers tonight if you're going to have it, or your night out. And I'll see you tomorrow. Take it easy.